Okay, folks, hello, hola. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a new thing with Adobe Spark. We've used Adobe Spark to make some pages, a video. Today we're going to be learning how to make an Adobe Spark post. A post is basically just an image. It's pretty cool, like a poster. You can have some text, photos, those sorts of things, and then you can download that poster. Save it as a JPEG or like a regular photo, and then you can share it on social media, embed it in all sorts of things, use it for lots of different stuff. You can print them off and make actual posters to hang up in the classroom, which I do a lot. So pretty cool tool. So what you're going to need to do first is, of course, open up a new browser window, and right up here you're going to type in the web address for Adobe Spark, which is spark.adobe.com. So when you get to the Adobe Spark website, it's going to ask you to log in right up here. So we'll click that. And since we've done this before, you can just go right down here and click login with Adobe ID. If it was your first time using Adobe Spark, you would have to go through the process of signing up with your email. But since we've already done that, we can just click right down on the bottom button, log in with Adobe ID. It'll already pull up your stuff. Let me type in my password if I can remember it. Wrong one. Try again. Cross your fingers for me. Is this the right one? Yes. Okay. So you can see down below we have some of our older projects and things. Some of them might look familiar to you. But what we are going to do is start a new project. So you're going to use this blue plus sign button that's right up in the center, in the middle. And go ahead and give that a click, and it brings up your options of all the different things we can do on Adobe Spark. Like I said, we've done a page, we've done a video. Today we're going to be learning about a post. So you're going to click on this green one here on the left. Something that I really love about Adobe Spark is that it gives you all sorts of templates to choose from, lots of ready-made projects that you could pick one to start with, and then you would go in and change out things to make it fit your needs. So you could say you like the setup of these photos, you go in and you change the text here, and you can even change the photos, but it would keep the formatting kind of the same. Things like that. And I love that about this site, in case I'm not feeling very creative, or sometimes having a lot of options is a little bit overwhelming. So having a jumping off point is something I really like about using the templates. What we are going to do today, though, however, is start from scratch. So see this button right here, we're going to give that a click. And then it will pull up just a blank. It says right down below here you can pick your graphic size, which is just the shape of your project. You've got a square, like kind of Instagram style. This one's they think is good for Facebook. It's kind of more rectangular, or Twitter. A vertical, up and down, kind of traditional looking poster, and then a slide shape like for Google Slides or PowerPoint. So you can pick whichever one you like. There's some other ones there which you can explore. Today, I'm going to pick this Instagram. I'm going to stay on that one. I like the look of those square Instagram style posters. And then right up here, it says, what do you want to say? Usually Adobe Spark is kind of fun, and they put in a cool little quote, something fun. But this line right here is where you will type your text. So for now, I'm just going to put in just something random, where you would type your text. Okay, and then once you have that in, you hit continue, and it's not something you need to stress about. You can always go back and edit things, always. So when you're starting your page, just get started, and then you can come back and do it. So you can see here it pulled up our text that we typed in. Over here on the right, my mouse is not keeping up with me. Okay, over here on the right is our toolbar for our text. Notice up in the right-hand corner, text is the one we're on. There's some menus for other things as well, but right now we're working with text, so that one's clicked. Down below, For working with the text, there's some things with color. It gives you, this is what colors we have right now. It gives you some suggested colors, which is based off of whatever photo is in the background. If you don't like any of those, you can go down below and pick whatever you want. So I'm going to actually change it out. Let's do kind of a blue thing. Cool. Lots of options with the text. Let's hit done on the color. Lots of options. You can play with fonts. There's so many different things. And of course, you know, we've talked about how different fonts, you know, have their different looks and they have different feels. So depending on what you're trying to express with your poster, you know, there's different reasons for picking different fonts. Same with colors. That's something that, you know, people that work in advertising, work in graphic design, they give a lot of thought to what different fonts and colors and what all that conveys to their audience. So things to consider when you're making your post. Some other things that you can do with the text, it lets you play with the spacing a little bit, which this one, here we go. Different options. There. Alignment. Do you want it on the left aligned? Let's see. Do you want it right aligned? Centered? Kind of more of a square? Lots of options. This right here brings up this bar, which kind of fades out, or it makes it much more vivid or faded. So some options there. And then this guy, this shape, shows you like just a plain text. This one, see the text here, the ABC has like little shadow. There's that. There, you can put it in a box. You can put it in a circle. There are, scroll down, there are different shapes. There's this, there's banners, you know, all sorts of things to give your post different looks. So once you have figured out, you know, you can explore that a little bit. Let's go in. So let's stick with the text like this. This photo is super random, so I'm gonna click back here and select that. Shoot, that's not what I want. I want to get off of the text. There we go. Click out of the text, and then it's having me play with the photo here. So there's some adjustments that can be made. You've got some filters to work with, but I just want to change this photo out completely because I don't even know what that is. It's like wood or hair or something. I don't know. So I'm going to go up here to this replace button. And then it brings up the background menu. This button right here, upload photo, is, you know, you could click that and it'll bring up your computer's folders and whatnot. So if you have something saved, you could upload your own photos, you know, stuff that you've put on your computer from your phone, things like that, which is great if you would like to do that. You can also you can upload from Google Photos or Dropbox, but something that I think is so cool about Adobe Spark is this Find Free Photos button right here. If you click that, you can search for all sorts of things. And the cool thing is the results that come up are all going to be domain-free photos. That means they're not copyrighted. They are fair game. They are free for you to use. So I love that feature about this site. You don't have to worry about you know, using somebody's stuff inappropriately or you know, citing your source. It just does it for you. So again, brings up a search bar. You can search in whatever. Let's just do something random like tacos, because who doesn't love tacos? Okay, so it brings up a bunch of photos. Again, domain-free stuff. I'm not sure who this guy is, why he comes up when you search tacos, but hey. Let's pick one just for kicks. There we go. We got our photo behind. Again, once you pick your photo, it gives you some filter options if you want to change that at all. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so we got our photo picked. I'm going to go back and click on my text again. I'm going to show you one more thing about the text. This wheel thing over here is pretty neat. Like I said, there's lots of options with the text as far as color, the shapes, the alignment, the fonts, all of that. But if you're feeling like you're just not sure what you want to do, which I feel like that sometimes. It's a lot of options. Sometimes I feel a little overwhelmed. Something you can do is use this wheel right here. You just grab this green button and hold it down, and then give the wheel kind of a spin, and it shows you a bunch of like ready-made setup text options. So that's kind of fun. I mean, sometimes you find one that you love doing that. Sometimes you're like, oh man, what I had before was way better. Yeah, so if you're feeling stuck and need some inspiration, give that wheel a spin. I kind of like that. And I'm actually going to go back in. Like I said, you can always go back. If I wanted to go back and change my photo, I would just go to that replace button again and search up something else. I'm going to change out my text here because this text is silly and means nothing. So I'm going to click on it, go back up to edit right here, and get rid of this. Let's see. Let's think of some text that, you know, pertains to our photo, like tacos are life. Yes, let's do that. And there you have it. Again, kind of silly. Obviously, this is just an example post. If you were making something, I'd love for it to be, you know, something a little more meaningful. But there you have it. Pretty simple. I love it. I love Adobe Spark. There's so many options. You can represent your ideas with not only with text but with visuals as well. And I think they're really great to just copy and paste and, you know, save them and use them on social media, put them on your web page, you know, all sorts of things. Print them off and hang them on the wall, which in fact I think I might do with this poster because tacos are life and we need a daily reminder. So one last thing before we finish up here, once you have your post finished, you're going to want to share it. So you're going to go up to this share button right at the top in the center. Click that. You can pick a category. We'll call it food. There's all sorts of things. And that just kind of sorts it into categories for the site. And then you'll click this create link button down below, and it will give you a nice little URL that you can just hit the copy button on, and then it is ready to roll to paste into somewhere else. You can also download. You click this download button right here, and it just will download it as just a straight JPEG onto your computer, and then you've got that image to use however you like. So there you have it. Lots of good info here with another tool on Adobe Spark. I love Adobe Spark, and I hope you guys will love using it too. All right. Adios.